There's another question here. The question says, do you believe that the important and secret meeting in Maputo in April 1980 between Mozambique, ZANU-PF, Apartheid SA, Rhodesia, facilitated by the British, which dealt with halting ANC Mkhonto operations, dealing with Rhodesia Special Forces and Renamo, etc., would also dealt with in the need to destroy ZAPU?
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I've been asked that question because it's a popular conspiracy theory in Matabeleland, and it was one that was heavily promoted by the late Dumiso Dabengwa, among others. And, it's the idea that there was an international conspiracy led by the British to destroy ZAPU. And, there's even the allegation that the British encouraged Gukurahundi and were involved in Gukurahundi. And the long and the short of that is that there isn't a shred of evidence in that regard. And in fact, there's a huge body of evidence that that's not the case. For example, the British were actually hoping that the first government of Zimbabwe would be formed under Joshua Nkomo, with Joshua Nkomo as the Prime Minister and Bishop Muzorewa as a participant in that government with the whites. And they were surprised and shocked by the victory of ZANU-PF. And so the idea that the British wanted to destroy ZAPU, all the evidence points in the other direction. That's just one reason. Another point in that regard is that it's often been said that the South Africans promoted Gukurahundi. They were happy to see it happen. That's not the case. There's no evidence in that regard. In fact, when I spoke to a general who was one of the key people in South African military intelligence, who organized Renamo in Mozambique, who organized and supported UNITA in Angola, he said to me that when the Gukurahundi broke out, it was a shock in South Africa, and they realized that their ideas of promoting instability in Matabeleland through so-called Super ZAPU would be impossible in a situation where there were such heavy and brutal military operations by the ZNA. So in fact, Gukurahundi destroyed the possibility of using Super ZAPU to destabilize Zimbabwe. So those are a couple of the reasons. I don't think those conspiracy theories hold any water. And, I think the other thing is they take away the focus on the true perpetrator, which was ZANU-PF. From start to finish, it was ZANU-PF and Mugabe who perpetrated those things. That's not to say the role of the West shouldn't come under scrutiny, but they were not the perpetrators, and it was not in their interest to see the killings continue. Now, whether you want to characterize their response as incredibly weak, and as having failed to, well, whether you want to speculate that if they'd been more forceful, the killings would have been less, that's another question. But in terms of British involvement or Western involvement, active involvement in Gukurahundi, there's no evidence for that.